I still hate Warner Brothers for making us wait 4 more months for this movie. Dune Part 2, starring Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken, Stellan Skarsgård, and Javier Bardem, along with multiple other people who I can't mention, otherwise I'd be getting into spoilers, is the mythic journey of Paul Atreides as he unites with Shani and the Fremen while on a path of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family, facing the choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe. Paul endeavors to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. Now, if you watched my most anticipated movies of 2024, you know that this was by far my most anticipated movie of the year. It was one of my most anticipated movies in 2023, and then it got delayed to 2024, and I was furious, but I finally got a chance to see it a week earlier than the release date, and I still had to wait too long. Oh my god, this movie was so incredibly good. It delivered almost everything that I wanted. Dune Part 1 was my favorite movie from 2021. And Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors of all time. Arrival is one of my favorite movies of all time. Prisoners is another one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Sicario. I really like Blade Runner 2049. Enemy is pretty good too. This movie is just so good. It's going to be hard to dance around spoilers for it. But just to start off with the absolutely stellar cast that I listed off, Timothée Chalamet is an absolutely amazing actor. He has an insane range. His ability to go from somebody like Willy Wonka in the Wonka movie to Paul Atreides is incredible. He was phenomenal in this movie. Just the gradual progression that you see, even from the end of him at Dune Part 1 to the very end of this movie, it is insane the progression that his character makes and the portrayal that Timothée Chalamet has of him. Zendaya is phenomenal. This is probably her best performance that she has ever given in any movie. She is insanely good. Austin Butler was getting so much hype for this movie, and he was absolutely phenomenal. I'm not sure if it's the levels of hype that other people that I've seen give him, but I still really enjoyed him. He completely disappeared. The costumes, the makeup and hairstyling, like, if you told me that that wasn't Austin Butler, I would 100% believe you. Dune Part 1 was just a really good movie at establishing and building a really, really, really cool world and telling a really compelling story. And then this movie just comes at you and it delivers all these themes, all these stories that just interconnect with each other. And it's paced so well. It's a 2-hour, 45-minute movie, and I wish that it was almost 3 hours or 4 hours even, because I could sit there and I could watch this. If Denis Villeneuve somehow had a director's cut or an extended edition like the Lord of the Rings movies have of this movie, I would watch it over and over and over again, because the themes in this movie are so strong about faith and our beliefs. So many layers of that you can take from our own society and that are put in this universe, and then the imperialism, the conquering, the freeing, just all these things that were really prevalent when Frank Herbert wrote the original Dune book. You can just see it seeping into the screen, and it's just orchestrated so beautifully. I absolutely love this movie. It is something that you 1,000% have to go out and watch this next week, and I will 100% be rewatching it, because I was a little bit confused by the first half of the movie. Honestly, I was a little bit worried. I'm like, where are we going? Where are we taking this? But the second half of it, it just all clicked and it all made sense, and I feel like on a second watch that this movie just would get infinitely better, knowing what happens, knowing the purpose of the first half, because I was left wondering why certain scenes happened, and the second half completely rationalized them. But going back and rewatching those things, knowing that they are supposed to happen the way that they do, I feel like is going to elevate this movie to an even higher level. Again, absolutely love this movie. Another performance that I want to shout out is Javier Bardem. I thought that he was absolutely phenomenal. As more of a comic relief character, he was having a blast with this role. Rebecca Ferguson was great. You absolutely despise her guts at times. You absolutely love her character at times. But without getting into spoilers, all I can really say is that she was absolutely amazing. I got chills multiple times during this movie just due to Hans Zimmer's score. It's phenomenal. I've been re-listening to it ever since I got home. Greg Fraser might just be the best cinematographer working today. Just his run of movies to go from Rogue One to Batman, Dune Part 1. The Creator was shot really well as well. And then this movie, I think, is his magnum opus. It is absolutely stunning just to see. Just sit back in IMAX and just be in absolute awe of this movie. And I don't really have too many issues with it, but to try and give my biggest complaint of it is that it wraps up maybe a little bit too quick. The best way that I can describe it, which is what I kind of thought of before I sat down and did this review, is that you have a steak from a 5-star restaurant sitting right in front of you, and you know it's absolutely amazing. You know it's going to be great, and then you eat it in like 3 seconds. That's the best way to describe this movie, is because it does wrap up really quick. Like the final 15 to 20 minutes covered a lot of ground, and they did it really, really well, but I just wanted more. Like, I could sit in the theater and watch this movie for another hour, hour and a half, because it was just absolutely stunning, absolutely phenomenal. There is not a facet of this movie that I really did not like. The only other minor complaint that I guess I can give is that at times is when you have to readjust, because this movie is so big and it covers so many stories and so many storylines in 2 hours and 45 minutes. To go from one storyline and then just jump into another, it can take a bit to get yourself acquainted to those storylines and then get truly invested into them. It might take you out of the movie for a little bit. It took me out of the movie for a little bit, specifically when Faye Rafa, whenever he's introduced, it spends a lot of time on him and developing his character, and that comes right after, and that comes after a lot of time of Paul Atreides and Chani doing their things, and then it's just Faye Rafa, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, but that's not really the movie's fault. But that is just, again, a very minor complaint, not even a complaint that I have. It just, so if you can't tell, I absolutely love this movie. I cannot wait for Dune Messiah. I can see how to some people that the plot of this movie may be a little bit convoluted or confusing, and it'll take them multiple times to watch it to truly understand it. I know that it's going to take me a second watch to grasp probably some things that I just didn't realize before. So if you don't have any familiarity with Frank Herbert's original Dune book, it might take you a little bit more to really understand what is going on in this movie. If you haven't seen Dune Part 1, you're 1,000% not going to understand this movie at all. So go watch Dune Part 1 if you haven't seen it. 1,000% go out and watch this movie, because it is one of the best movies that I have seen in recent memory. It's going to be hard for anything to beat this for the rest of 2024. It has set the bar extremely high for this year. Let me know what you thought of Dune Part 2 down in the comments below. Please let me know. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. My link to follow me over on Letterboxd down in the description below, and we will see you in the next movie review.